sometimes I get really stiff when I'm talking about stuff that we already talked about.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to like talk about this governor of Tennessee.
Yeah.
What's happening in the state of Maine? Because you have your valid criticisms of of the
affordability bill.
A, the affordability bill, and B, the other thing that your man there was behind with the Opportunity Maine.
Right, yeah, Opportunity Maine is pointless, really.
So that'd be a great thing.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Opportunity Maine.
Okay, so the governor of Tennessee, did you
I saw the governor of Tennessee recommended
that.
Is he a Republican? I think he might be a
Republican.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, let me look that up.
Okay, to the internet.
So the governor of Tennessee proposed free college tuition for residents of the state.
Yeah.
And we're looking up to see right now if he's a Republican.
That seems familiar. Someone did that back in 2012 who was running for state senate here. Oh, it was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Is it going to be for community colleges?
It was going to be for community colleges, in-state tuition, the University of Maine system. I think just all in-state tuition. I mean, it's not like that radical of an idea. I mean, that California does this already. Something radical would be what Finland does, and it's just free.
Right.
Period. You could be from America and go to Finland and they'll take you if you get in. I mean, you have to pass the entrance exam and all that, but they see it as an investment, and they see it. I mean, they're doing a lot of like partnering with different companies and like doing research and development at the universities, and like. You know, it's a really great economic hub. Like, imagine that. You get a bunch of smart people together who don't have to worry about debt.
Right.
And then they're able to be, like, free to innovate and, like, produce amazing new products.
Right, because this is, so you were just getting at, as it is now, big companies, Monsanto and their ilk, are getting free R&D out of universities all over the place, you know. They throw a little chump change at the university to found a wing or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they get all sorts. They reap the benefits of all this research. Of course, they fund this research, but really, it's why not as the state? Why can't we invest in our own people that way? I mean, we've heard all of this talk about the brain drain in the state of Maine.
Yeah, well, do you know why that is? It's because there's no jobs here. And you know why there's no jobs here? I mean, like, people are graduating. They're getting a great education at the UMaine system, and they're graduating with a ton of debt. And then there's no jobs where they can make enough. Like, when I was still paying back, I'm on IBR now, so I'm not paying my student loans back. Look, I can't afford to.
But what'd you say, IBR?
Yeah, income-based repayment.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Which
yeah.
They put down to zero, thankfully.
Yeah.
But you still owe it, and interest.
Yeah, and the interest is still accruing.
It's still cranking up, and I haven't really taken a look because I'm like in denial about because I just can't. I have no choice at this moment but to just let it mount. I don't even know how much it's going to cost. Which brings me to the idea of how is Opportunity Maine going to help me with
Opportunity Maine is going to help you $0.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the Opportunity Maine tax credit form, it's like, how much have you paid in?
Right.
0. Or whatever, if it's $1, if it's $50. You're only going to get reimbursed the amount that you've paid.
Right.
So if you don't have it in your monthly budget because you're just barely scraping by, which so many people are, if you're just barely scraping by, then that's when, you don't get helped at all.
Right.
But if you have a job that has a steady enough income that you can afford to pay back your full college loan amount, then you get that back. So Opportunity Maine is helping those who don't need help and not helping those who do need the help.
Yeah,
it's a backwards program.
It's all these compromises that come out because I worked on that a bit. I helped with some of the signature collection and also driving to the towns and turning in signatures and so forth. And my original conception was, and the original conception I would think. I know was being bandied about was like, hey, how about free college tuition in the state? And then some Democrats got involved and it got dialed back to this tax credit.
That always happens.
Well,
that always happens when you get Democrats involved.
Well, right, because I've seen this happen again and again when I was in the state legislature. Is these guys tend to compromise themselves to the hilt before they even get out of the box. And it's like, wait a second, why not just put it there in front of the people in the state of Maine if they would like to have free in-state college tuition at universities. I mean, we give a lot of money to the university systems. They're all their own separate little fiefdoms. It's very different from where I grew up in New York, where it was all like under either the SUNY or the CUNY system, the state college system or the community college system. There's all these separate pots of money. None of them are talking to one another. They're all fighting over you know, separate pieces of the pie, and who gets dinged in the end is the resident of the state of Maine, who would like to go to community college. And this would probably keep a lot of young people here, because frankly, you know, if you don't have this great opportunity in front of you, you know, then you're going to look at other horizons. But if it's pretty tempting to say, hey, maybe I'll just stay here. At least I'll just stay here for community college, you know, and then think of what a shot, you know, in the arm to local economy this would be. So I haven't looked to see if this is a Republican governor, but you know, what difference does it make? Oh,
he's a Republican. You know, so like even the Republicans are willing to do this.
Yeah, you know, and that brings me to the idea, you know, as Greens, you know, we're both constantly saying that, you know, it's the two parties this and the two parties that are, you know, keeping us down. And a lot of times, you know, we end up talking about us in relationship to the Democrats.
Right.
But good ideas exist. I saw them all the time in front of the state legislature. But what happens is that if a good idea isn't the idea that originated from the party in control, be it the Democrats or the Republicans, then that idea is going to get killed. Maybe it'll resurface a couple of years later, and it'll be put forth by a you know, by a Democrat or whoever the party is in control, and it might get passed. You know, I think it was interesting to me. I saw this example where John McCain at some point, toward the end of his campaign, just before it was like in the death throes, when he suspended his campaign to go deal with the financial crisis, he actually brought forth the idea of paying off people's mortgage debts.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I saw the most whacked out.
What a socialist.
I saw the most whacked out reversal I ever saw before. And then the Democrats were saying, "Oh no, terrible idea. That will destroy the economy."
Right.
You know, so you know, these good ideas, you know, come from either direction. It's the two parties, you know, fighting over the proprietorship of these these ideas that are destroying this country. You know, because they want to control all the chips and all the money, and they want to hand out all the jobs and have all the patronage, and that's what we've been suffering from here in the university system. In the university system, as I see it in the state of Maine, is a sink for all sorts of patronage money from wherever the party in control is, and mostly it's been the Democrats over the past 30 years. It's been a place where they throw a lot of money for, you know, for research on papers that, you know, at the Muskie School that just sit there gathering dust. But good soldiers who have worked, you know, to help the party get lots of money to write these studies, you know, to do these studies. I've seen the result of some of them, and they, you know, some of the results of $30,000 or $100,000 worth of work is a joke that will, like, if you ever had this presented to you for that money, you would certainly like look at that person and say, "You got to be kidding me! I'm not giving you a dime for this. I'll give you $1,000 for this." But you know, so education should be free, easy enough. What's your idea? What would you do?
I think that education, should be free. It should be free for any in-state tuition. I think that's actually really a compromise. I'd like to do what Finland does and just say free tuition at our schools. And the problem is that, or another problem, and I'm sure you saw this when you were in the legislature, is that the University of Maine System Fund is used as a rainy day fund to cover budget shortfalls elsewhere. And both Democrats and Republicans, whoever's in power, they're not willing to raise tax. They're not willing to touch the tax system, which is ridiculous and basically a flat tax system. They're not willing to generate new revenue to cover our budget shortfalls in DHHS and all the other departments. And so they end up just like, oh, well, we're just going to take some money from the University of Maine system. And they just keep borrowing from the University of Maine system. So like the University of Maine system is like bankrupt because they just keep taking money out of the fund. That's the backwards of that's the total opposite of investing in our education
in the
system.
education of our
and not only that,
they're shutting down programs. What did they recently shut down?
Yeah, well, they're shutting down the physics department. How can you call yourself a university if you've shut down the physics department?
Right. Don't you lose an accreditation for shutting down your physics?
I don't know. That seems like you would need to.
So we're divesting of education in the state of
Yeah.
Maine at this point, you know, and we're robbing, the brain trust here in Maine that we could be investing in, and then, you hear about all these problems in Maine, everybody's like, tax this, tax that, taxes are killing us. It's like, that's not, taxes aren't what, if you ask the average person on the street, for LePage to say, for example, I want to give that regular person some taxes back. I mean, what's that going to amount to for you and me?
Nothing.
Like $50, I don't know, if that, right?
Yeah.
So is that, that's just a crap excuse for actually investing in people and giving them their money back, because unless you're making big bucks,
right.
You're not going to really reap the benefit of that, Most of us aren't, right? I mean, we're a poor state. Tennessee is a great analogy, right? Because we're like deep South poor. I mean, we're probably below Tennessee in terms of our the average income.
They have the Nashville music scene, at least.
They have that.
We don't have that.
Yeah. But we have also a really great creative music scene that, hey, if we could really invest in getting people into college, getting them into school for music instruction. You went to school to study music. If we could get more people studying music, we could be the next Nashville. There's a great potential here.
Oh, absolutely.
If we could fund all sorts of music education, which no doubt we've been cutting out of schools because it's always the first thing to go. So it's like, to talk about how taxes are killing us, but then to have no solutions in terms of retaining youth and retaining the the minds here in the state of Maine, not just young people, but people of all ages who are forced to move away because they can't make ends meet, they can't find a job. We could be creating jobs by investing in people, right? How can we do that? If we were spending money on education, how would that create jobs?
First there's educators, obviously.
Right.
There's everything that goes along with the university system. Universities need janitors and all that. But also, with the partnerships with businesses doing R&D, and also beyond that, when people graduate and they're debt-free, they have the skills, they have the know-how, they have the networks that they've created while being with each other. They can go out and take business risks. They can go out, take a loan, start a company, create a startup, and fail, with minimal risk.
Right.
They can start a lot of small businesses in a row, get business experience, put those ideas that are fresh in their head to work, and do really innovative things while they're fresh out of college, and those ideas are racing around. They still have those vibrant cross disciplinary networks set up. Amazing things can come out of that.
And our souls and our hopes haven't been crushed.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, yeah, and you get people out of college and they're crushing under a pile of debt, and then they have to go off and take a terrible job that is not even necessarily in their field, and that it's just drudgerous. That kills innovation.
Right.
If you look at a place like Iceland, if you look at Sweden or Germany or France or any European nation right now, they are all investing in their young people, and they're seeing a lot of innovation coming out of their university systems.
Right.
And there's just no reason that we shouldn't do that. And it's totally worth the investment too. We've done this in America at the federal level with the GI Bill. We know that we make every dollar that we spend on college tuition in the GI Bill, we make more than that back in new tax revenue, because those people go off and they become successful.
Right. We're still, we're toward the end of reaping the benefits of the GI Bill, but it had an explosive effect on innovation when soldiers returned home from World War II, and they were able to partake of the GI Bill. This, it was like a renaissance in creativity and innovation in this country, and that was the baby boomer generation sort of, was partaking of that largesse, which was generated by ourselves or our government creating this this great program so that soldiers could get educated, and now we're in the other direction of bankrupting this idea of this the public commons again, and the governor that we have now is just talking about bankrupting the public commons. And the Democrats are, taking the bait at every turn, like with the recent EBT scandal, about being used at smoke shops. Well, what did the leader of the Democrats in the House say? Oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this, rather than say, hey, wait a second, this guy has fooled us and flim-flammed us a bunch of times with this like front end versus back end reporting. In the front end, he says there's been malfeasance and people are screwing the system, and then at the other end, you never hear, oh, wait a second, it all fell apart. There was no there.
Well, and the other thing too is if you look, if you have any understanding of economics, if you know about fiscal multipliers, like really, I don't care if I sort of care if EBT is being abused, but like if you have a basic income, and this is something that's in my platform too, is a basic income. I think everybody should have EBT. Everybody should have EBT, universal EBT. Everybody should be able to feed themselves. And when you do that, your economy is going to grow.
Right. Same way if you provide them with
it's called fiscal multiplier.
Healthcare. Right, the multiplier effect of these things.
And so whether that's spent at a bar or a strip club or a smoke shop,
it's still,
that's money that's being spent into the economy.
It's creating jobs.
That if it was staying in the bank of account of someone in the 1%, it's not helping the economy. It's not paying for goods and services. It's just sitting there making more money out of debt.
Right,
like that doesn't help anybody.
When
helps the 1%.
When we gave the money to the banks after the economic collapse in 2008 precipitated by the banks, when we gave them the money to pay off their gambling debt, what did they do? They held on to it. They refused to lend. Obama say please lend. He gives them all of our money. So
with no strings attached.
Each of us are indebted $31,000. From now until the day we shuffle off this mortal coil in this country because of that. It was total robbery, total boondoggle, scandalous, right? Gives all the money. If he had instead done the Republicans' idea and put that money into helping people pay down their individual mortgage debt, we know those people would have taken the extra money that they had and put it back into the economy. Yeah. So the banks refused to put it in the economy. The CEOs got their golden parachutes and they put it in offshore banks and didn't spend it.
And the banks would have gotten that money. So if you have people who so you give that money to the people who owe it, you have people staying in their houses. The people are paying the banks are getting the fucking money anyway. The only thing that happens by not giving it to the people is we bailed out the banks, which we would have done if we gave it to the people anyway. We bailed out the banks and we punished people for getting fucked over by the banks.
And then we gave those guys money so that they could turn around and buy up all the foreclosed on properties. So tell me that wasn't like we just described a three-part.
It was a total robbery. And in addition to that, we gave the banks basically 0% interest money for free at the Federal Reserve through the quantitative easing that they could go and turn around. So they were taking the TARP bailout funds, basically at 0% interest. They were turning around and then buying federal bonds, which meant that the government is now paying them. So they took money from the federal government to buy a bond from the federal government that the federal government is going to pay interest on. So the government is now paying them for the pleasure of having given them the money to start with.
And this is
they're screwing us coming and going
and standing still, and this is an oligarchy totally and completely, and the two parties are, they're pretending to fight with one another, but all they're really doing is both boosting up this oligarchy and paying themselves off, and we keep getting flim-flam by the two-party system. So here you are running as a state representative.
State senator.
State senator. Yeah. I was a state representative in the state of Maine, the first one in the country.
As a green.
Yeah. First green in the country. We could have, another state senator as a green. This is moving us forward. moving the ball forward so that a green future is really possible, so that we can, crush the two-party system. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. People need to invest in it. People need to stop wasting their votes on Democrats and Republicans and get behind the Greens. So, they're going to have a chance to do that in your Senate district. What's the number again?
It's Senate District 27 here in Maine. But yeah, and the ways that you can help out, right now I'm still in the seed money period, so if you want to donate to my campaign, you can donate up to $100. You can do that. There'll be a link in the video description. If you live in the district, you can donate. I'm running as a clean elections candidate. I'm not taking any. After the seed money period, I won't be taking any money. I'll be not doing any fundraising. I'll be taking $5 qualifying donations, and those will be made out to the Maine Clean Election Fund. You can go to maine.gov/clean elections, and if you live in the district, you can donate there to help me qualify for clean elections funding. And the other thing that you can do is go to mainegreens.org/donate and put your financial support behind a political party that is
$5.
$5.
Whatever.
$5. That if you give us $5 a month, you can sign up to become a sustainer. That would do so much to help build an alternative voice, a non-corporate voice, because we don't take corporate money. That's been part of our deal since 1984.
Most anybody out in the country right now in this state down the block would agree that the biggest enemy of our democracy is corporate and special interest money, and the Greens don't take that.
Even before Citizens United.
Yeah, right. And
we recognized it was a problem back in 1984.
Right, so if you hate Citizens United, stop voting for Democrats, stop voting for Republicans, and start voting for Greens. Get behind a movement. Feel like, what are you going to tell your kids that you did? You have something in front of you that's a real easy option. Not many states have Greens on their ballot that they can choose to run for office. We're very lucky that we have Greens that we can choose on our ballot, and that we have a ballot line, and that you can register as a Green. Here's something that you can tell your kids you did, and it doesn't take much work on your part at all. All you have to do is check on the box, and all you have to do is get behind good ideas and get behind the party that doesn't take corporate money. And then you can have a clean conscience when your kids ask you, why did you stand by for the raping and pillaging of our country and our environment and our future? Mom and Dad, why did you do that? At least you could say, hey, I voted Green. Don't blame me, I voted Green.
Yeah, at the very least. And, if the spirit moves you, you can also run for office yourself.
Yeah.
That's something that's great about the Green Party is we're only 30 years old. We're still up and coming. There's still, there's a place for you in the party. There's a place for you within our organization. There is so much work to be done. We just need the people to do it. And if there's not a Green local in your community, start one up. You can contact me at asher.d.platts@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the video, or maybe I'll put a little piece of text at the bottom. But, go ahead, contact me, go to our website, sign up, mainegreens.org, sign up to run for office, to start a local committee. Right now we're also in the caucus period, so if you want to get a list of all the Greens registered in your area, I can get that to you, call them up. They have phone numbers, put together a meeting, find the people in your area and get something going. Run for city council, run for school board, run for state representative, and take this government back.
Go online and check out our platform, and I'm sure that you'll see lots of things that you love. I mean, they're just great ideas, and we're not really running against any one party or another. We're just trying to move forward with good ideas. I used to be the kind of person that would just grouse about all the problems, and then finally somebody one day said to me, dude, I'm sick of hearing you bellyache, go do something about it. And then sure enough, just like this happened, somebody came to me and said, why don't you run for office? And I was like, me? And they were like, yeah, sure, you, because as Greens, we don't have any sort of elitist idea that you have to be a lawyer or that you have to be, a big business owner to run for office. We think that, good ideas come from regular citizens too, and, that's our ethic, is that regular citizens should do more than just vote, although we'd appreciate that. They should do more than just donate $5, but though we'd appreciate that, and register Green. but they should also get out there and run. And it's a transformative experience. Your life will never be the same, right?
Mm-hmm. It's true. No, it's absolutely true. I think it's made me a better person.
It's made me a better person. You'll change forever. Get out there, and if you've got ideas, go and talk to the people in your community about them. That's all we're really asking you to do. Mm-hmm. And tell them to get behind you by giving you their vote. And yeah, no, you may not win the first time.
You probably won't.
You probably won't. That's fine. We're going to just cut it, give you the straight poop right now. I mean, people in my district ran, several times before they opened the door for me to win. So I owe it to them. But that could be you laying the groundwork for the future for the new green revolution. So get out there and run. Work on a campaign. If you're afraid to run this time out, then come learn the ropes and work on a campaign, and you'll see how fun and compelling and vital it really is. If you want to make democracy work, it's not a static thing. It's something that needs constant attention and needs watering and needs cultivating. Come cultivate democracy with the Green Party and grow green, vote green. We love you.
Cool.